stream, but we're back here on Monday with a pretty interesting new take on a deck I was working on right before Brothers War. I was playing a version of this deck that I should have saved it. I writ over it to build this one, but it was a mono white Heliod list playing Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding. I was also playing Thalia. And I was very impressed with the show. We had a really good stream with the deck. I thought it was really powerful, and I wanted to wait a little bit till Brothers War came out to work on those decks. Maybe there was a few new cards from the new set that went into the archetype, and there are a few new cards that go in the archetype, specifically Recommission and Lay Down Arms, as two interesting options. Neither of these cards really redefine the deck at all, but I do think that the general shell is pretty good, and I think that both these cards fit nicely as well. It's kind of funny, Lay Down Arms is not a card that I would really have considered putting in almost any modern deck before I put this one together, but I put this one together before Heliod came out, or before Brothers War spoilers were out. It just so happened that I was already working on a deck that was playing entirely plains, so that you can, Idyllic Grange is your main enabler for Walking Ballista Heliod. And so Lay Down Arms just happens to be a really, really solid removal spell in the deck. And so we'll talk a little bit more about these in a second, why I've moved away from Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding. But again, Recommission I think is a very good tool for this deck, the ability to return any artifact or creature from the graveyard with mana value 3 or less. And it is with an extra +1 counter if it's a creature, which everything here is going to be a creature. And so this card plays really nicely with Ranger-Captain, where you can sack your Ranger-Captain, recommission, and get something back. But also, what's cool about this +1 counter condition is it actually lets you buy back a Ballista with a counter on it. So usually a reanimation effect is not going to work with Walking Ballista. This one does, which is really interesting. Recommission is also really good on a Ragavan. It's really good on an Esper Sentinel. Esper Sentinel coming back with an extra counter is actually very powerful. Imagine if this was a 2-mana 2/2. That would also very likely be a playable card. It's not bad on a Luminarch Aspirant, just get a big creature and play really quickly. And so what's interesting to me about specifically Lay Down Arms is when you're playing Recommission, I don't think you want to play Thalia. You could play Thalia, but we had Thalia in the spot before. It was okay, but I was kind of interested in a bit of a lower, more proactive game plan where you're trading resources and then recommission them, if that was kind of the thinking. And so I think that splashing red for Ragavan and Blood Moon and Wear Tear makes a lot of sense. It's a very easy splash to do, and all these cards are really good. And then Lay Down Arms is a really good removal spell to clear the way for Ragavan, where it can remove a 2-mana blocker for 1 mana and let you also Giver or Sentinel or something in the same turn cycle. Just kind of the idea a little bit between Lay Down Arms makes Ragavan a lot better. And then if you were going to play the Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding tech, where you have to play tap lands and stuff, which were always a little awkward. So if for those of you who don't know the combo, I guess I should just briefly go over it. The combo is Heliod, the Sun Crowned, Walking Ballista with 2 counters on it, and then giving your Ballista lifelink, and then every time your Ballista deals damage, you put a counter on it with Heliod's triggered ability, you deal infinite damage, and technically gain infinite life. And you have 13 fetch lands, 3 Idyllic Granges, so that way, so you go turn 3 Heliod, then you go turn 4 2/2 Ballista, crack a fetch land, or play an Idyllic Grange, put a counter on the Ballista, and then you can win on turn 4. And so having a turn 4 combo in a very grindy, high quality card deck like this is really nice to close up games against Hammer Time and opposing combo decks. 23 seems like a lot of lands. Yeah, we were actually playing 22 last time, and I wanted to go up to 23. I'm pretty happy with the 23 number. This is a deck that wants to hit its 4th land drop on curve almost every single game. This is a deck that when you flood out and you're drawing too many lands, your fetch lands at least turn into +1/+1 counters, so you have all of your lands have some degree of built-in flood insurance. Let's get going. Tejima, 13 months. Thank you. Kind of talk Walrus to 23. Desert Nomad with the 17. And Whoosh, please, the 23 months. Thank you, everybody, for coming back. Good morning to y'all. We have the combo. We have Ragavan with Lay Down Arms to clear Ragavan. Beautiful hand. Yes, let the discourse begin. Ooh, I haven't seen this old border Darksteel Citadel. That looks great. How did the Tamashi deck from last weekend end up performing? Poorly. Despite, we worked so hard on it, so it had to be good, right? It was so hard to build. There's, potentially some potential, but I am maybe supposed to Solitude Gingerroot here to reduce affinity. You can still Thoughtcast, but it costs some extra mana to Thoughtcast. No, it's not. Is Sorcery Speed going to be a liability for Laydown Arms? I mean, it's not a perfect removal spell. No removal spell is perfect. What I really like about Laydown Arms compared to Prismatic Ending or Leyline Binding, which are your other options, is that it is something that lets you play basically all untapped lands, and you compare that. Yeah, well, it could have made them tap the Citadel basically, which was something that was different from the other version that was playing those other cards, which I thought was a fine way to build the deck too. And then the difference is between like Onthanice, which you could also play Onthanice. Ooh. I guess we can trade Ragavan for the Patchwork. The difference between Onthanice is... Okay. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. The difference between Onthanice is that card is like very fragile to a lot of other cards in the format. Prismatic Ending, Binding, Besage, Haywire Might, and that's a card I think you could have played at some point in the past, but now there's a lot of like really incidental disenchants that I don't think it's actually nearly as easy to play anymore. We could have Solituded the Ornithopter and hope they don't have another land. I think that's a little greedy. Dugula, 14 months. Okay, thank you. Why do Magic players dislike Command Horizon so much? Why is it the combo players? I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons. All of them are like somewhat valid. Magic is a game full of opinions. You know what I mean? It's a game full of opinions, and it is okay to have an opinion. And it's also okay for me to not talk about it today. I get pretty close to comboing. I'm a bit worried about a main deck Pithing Needle. But maybe I'll just snipe the main deck Pithing Needle with Ragavan, huh? Okay, I can't quite cast that Thought Monitor. Guess I'm happy they're not drawing it. So we're gonna need a... We're gonna need a fetch land to combo next turn, but we can also maybe just play out Ballista and combo the turn after. See what happens. Listen, Modern Horizons 2 has been out for 16 months, and I have done nothing but basically work on the set since its release. I love it. I think Modern Horizons 2 was the best thing that ever happened to the format. I think that a lot of players live in like a realm of nostalgia, and they long for like their favorite period of the format, and they kind of forget that there was a long period of Modern where things were a nightmare for like 2 years before MH2, and I think the set really stabilized the format in a big way. Did not draw the Idyllic Grange. It's okay to disagree, but I just can't today, chat. I just can't today. What can I say? 3 cards in my opponent's hand. Can they kill me? It looks like they can. Fuck. This is +8/+8. Okay, +9/9, 19. Yeah, okay. Sadly, fall game 1 here. If we drew the Idyllic Grange, we do win there. 23 lands seems like a lot of lands. Let's bring in these Wear Tears. Consider bringing in a Blood Moon or 2 on the play. Sirling, 6 months, thank you. I think I'm likely to be cutting the recommissions for the Wear Tears. I think I probably don't care that much about these Blood Moons. They'll be okay. I could play one over like Esper Sentinel 4, I guess. Okay, there's our one of Blood Moon. Let's keep this hand though, it's totally fine. Don't need 3 white sources, so I don't know if we like need to be fetching a plains next turn. Speaking of MH2, what could this deck run instead of Ragavan? Well, I played a build of this deck without Ragavan before Brothers War that I thought was pretty reasonable. It was playing Prismatic Ending and Leyline Binding and Thalia over like Recommission Lay Down Arms Ragavan. And I think that like the red splash is really nice for like the Wear Tears Blood Moons. I think the Ragavan is really good in this deck too, with like Give Her Runes to protect it, and then Lay Down Arms is a great removal spell for clearing Ragavan through. And like recommissioning Ragavan, Luminarch like Ragavan into Luminarch Aspirant is actually like a pretty good curve on the play. So I think the Ragavans make sense here, but you know, you can build the deck without it. Okay, well, my Blood Moon will get to do something here, which is good. Unless they have Rebuke. No, they can't Rebuke, actually, with this mana. I would consider revisiting the Domain Randomer with Goryo's Griselbrand. Would I still run Shadow Prophecy mainboard Leyline? In that version, I would play those cards, yeah. So this kind of happens a lot with an archetype. Like, the Goryo's deck, I don't have a lot of ideas for at the moment. I'm, like, relatively happy with where that deck is at the moment, and I don't really have, you know, a pile of new ideas to try. So sometimes if it's been like a really long time, I will just like circle back, you know, but I also like to always be trying new stuff, if that makes sense. Doesn't Blood Moon shut down our own combo? How essential is it? Well, Blood Moon turns off the Idyllic Granges. You can still combo. It's just more mana intensive. And so the idea is like Blood Moon is a super impactful sideboard card that I think is really good to have in your sideboard in Modern right now. And the idea is that you side them in when they're really impactful. The Idyllic Grange is basically like +2 mana for your combo to make your mana two mana cheaper. Okay, I didn't bring in the Giant Killer. Maybe I should have brought in the Giant Killer. I think I'm gonna get a Ballista though, just like a fair Ballista. And then I'm likely just gonna take a hit from this Ornithopter, but if my opponent does have a another Cranial Plating, we can Solitude. But I would really prefer to be like hardcast Solitude into hardcast Solitude this game. And I can almost guarantee a land or a mana with this Ragavan because I can give it pro colorless. Ooh, okay, well. Blue blocker is about as bad as it gets. No longer guarantees that I am going to get that hit with Ragavan. And it's another flying creature for the Cranial Plating. Wow, their draw's been really good, huh? Alright, the $1 million question here. Can I just, like, take 11? I think the answer is no. Okay, I can block like this. This is pretty good. I'm happy that they attack like this. I can give Ragavan protection from colorless. And I can Solitude this Ornithopter. And I can get in with the Ragavan. Pretty happy to trade Ranger-Captain for Patchwork this turn. And I can kill the Thought Monitor with this Ballista. I suppose. Guess I'm getting 3/3 Ballista actually. Now I draw land for turn. Potentially find something to do off the Ragavan. They have 3 cards in their hand. Hopefully they're all Ursa Sagas. Alright, that's something. Obviously, I'd love to keep the Ballista around. Combo piece with Heliod. It's a mana sink. We'll see if we have that luxury. We don't really need to kill this Midnight. We can potentially block it. It kind of depends on how much mana they want to sink into this. If you wait for them to order blockers, can't you use protection to save both creatures? Am I wrong? Yeah, no, you're wrong. Sorry. It's okay. If it had 1 less power, you could have. Can we give Ragavan Pro Blue and make it 3/3 Ballista? I would much, yeah, you don't, if they block, you're really happy with that block. Okay, Nettle Cyst is gross. Very good draw from our opponent. All gas, huh? Need to draw Wear Terror? Or, I guess we could draw a removal spell too, but then like this being in play is going to be a big problem. We go Solitude, Wear Terror, Lay Down Arms. Could potentially, if they only leave like one color of blocker back, we could potentially draw Heliod, lifelink Heliod, give Ballista protection from the color blocker that they have, and then infinite combo. So we potentially have a lot of outs. Alright, so they're going to Portable Hole Giver of Runes, which sucks. Man, their draw has been so good. Red Winter, thank you for the 14 months. Appreciate you. Yeah, so I no longer have that, I guess I could keep Heliod as an out if I just take 12. I think it's probably going to be better to not take the 12, though. You just keep, like, more of the removal spells as outs. Alright. Let's go. Now I can kill the Midnight and stop them from having anything with equipment on it. Don't think I'm going to level up the Ballista for 1 extra damage right now. They're at 31 life, and I have a Ragavan hit. For a spell that's good if I keep hitting with Ragavan. Is casting this better than putting a counter on the Ballista, though? No, it's probably not, because I need to kill this Midnight. In fact, let's just kill this Midnight now. Because I'm going to kill this Midnight no matter what this turn, and I can potentially cut them off of, like, Thought Monitor or Portable Hole by not letting them have any colored mana. They only have 1 card in their hand. It would be great to win this game after my opponent's draw was so good. I did have a tweet, Titan. I did have a tweet. Glory Fades 10 months. Thank you. Red Winter 14. Thank you as well. Man, it would be crazy to win this game. Three cards in their hand. Let's not forget to level up our Ballista. Oh, wow. Why Blood Moon again? This matchup it kills their Sagas. It did kill a Saga this game. I brought in exactly 1 copy on the play. I might even board it out on the draw. Yeah, I like these planes a lot, the mech planes. Big fan. Okay, so we're definitely leveling up once. I might level up again using the treasures. So this will be at 4. I can level up to 5. I can attack 4, 5 plus 4, 9. And then deal 5 more. I think I am gonna level this now. Hard to really imagine this is a bad investment, but I don't have lethal, so we'll not level up in combat here. Oh. This means I can't hardcast Solitude. I don't know that I would really ever need to hardcast a Solitude here. Like, I could just cast it on my turn, you know. Ballista most of their things. Okay. Pretty easy to kill this with Ballista, although this does mean that their Springleaf Drum is unlocked. So maybe they have a Thought Monitor. A Portable Hole. Okay, so let's go ahead and ping this. Pay for the ward. And then I imagine they just get my Ballista here. It's kind of tough because pot isn't as good without Solitude Blow Elemental. I don't know, so I really don't want to do the whole, like, let's fix modern thing today, but I think Twin would... So, like, I tested the Twin and Pod with Caleb, like, a year ago. I ended up, like our testing, like, I 5-0'd with Twin, Pod wasn't that good, but I think, like, especially, like, with, like Murktide would still exist, and Twin would be, like, an interesting, different way to build blue-red. I think that both would be fine. Potentially fine on bans, but the Birthing Pod feels like the riskier one because of how good Yawgmoth is. It would go right in Yawgmoth, and it would be like a nice upgrade to the deck, although it would make it weaker to some hate cards. And like, Yawgmoth also has a really weird dynamic. Yawgmoth has a really weird dynamic where a big part of the reason why Yawgmoth is such a good and powerful deck is people just don't play that many sideboard cards for it. Like, people don't play lots of Pithy Needles and Grafdigger's Cages. And, like, if Yawgmoth ever becomes a deck to beat, like, you know, filling your sideboard with Grafdigger's Cages and Needles is, like, not really a metagame that Yawgmoth wants to play in. I haven't heard that argument. It's going in Yawg. Yeah, of course. Okay, this is also the problem with unbanned discourse, is a huge chunk of players are wonderful, beautiful heroes who they want to play Green Sun Zenith in their Maverick deck. They want to play Kiki Pod. They want to play these cards in the fun, old school versions. But Green Sun Zenith would make Titan the best deck in the format. It would make Titan the best deck in the format. It would be so insane. The fact that it's like turn 1 Dryad Arbor, Dryad Leasing Grove, Primeval Titan, any value creature they want, any answer to Blood Moon they want, on curve, is unreal. This hand is so sick if we draw a land. Even like Ballista Luminarch Aspirant is pretty good in this matchup, but we should mulligan. Pretty Lights, 32 months, thank you. It's okay, it's good that y'all are, you know, heroes, but this is the problem with unbanning a lot of the cards too. And like people who will say Jitte unbanned. Jitte just goes in every hammer list until the end of time. It's like a pretty big buff to hammer. I don't know. How am I liking Lay Down Arms? I think it makes a lot of sense in like specifically this deck, which is kind of funny, you know what I mean? Like again, Lay Down Arms is not a card I would have expected to register in Modern had it not been for the fact that I had put this deck together like right before Brothers War came out, and this just happened to be a deck with all planes that is actually interested in like early cheap removal that lets you play untap lands. And hold on, sorry, Tear. I always get Wear and Tear confused. I think that they Wear and Tear do the opposite things. I don't think Jitte would make that big of a difference in Hammer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I maybe not, maybe yes. It would make the mirror miserable. But here's the problem with Jitte and Hammer is that Jitte goes in it's a one of in every single Hammer list until Hammer's not a deck in the format, until the end of time. And I usually just don't like unbanning cards that are like, that you know are just going to see a ton of play. I usually like to be like a lot more conservative with my unbans. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it makes play meaningfully better, although meaningfully better gameplay is a bit of a abstract concept maybe. Well-timed Wear Tear, huh? Just going in on this Luminarch Aspirant. Ooh, another Wear Tear. Okay. Yeah, we're going in. Ferd, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. Don't think I'm blowing up anything main phase. Twin is not a good unban. Twin would be fine unban. But also, like, people who want unbans usually are mostly just bored. It's okay to be bored. All right, if they can't do anything, them not having a Springleaf Drum will be pretty detrimental for them. And I want to be able to have Hardcast Solitude up next turn. Yeah, I think for the most part, people who want to unban something are mostly just bored and they want something exciting to happen, which is fine. But I think modern gameplay right now and modern format diversity and metagame evolving is as good as it has ever been in Modern's history right now. I think gameplay, the way the metagame is evolving, and format diversity is as good as it's ever been. So I think that a shakeup is not something I personally advocate for at the moment. Man, I cannot believe we won that match. I cannot believe we won that match. It was crazy. What the heck? We need to ban this. You know, I just, that's how I picture it at least. I don't know. I think Wizards mostly does things at random when it comes to the modern ban list. So this whole like Ren and 6 is gonna get banned soon, blah 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 blah. There's just like, it's all chaos. It's all chaos. It's all chaos. It's very, very hard to predict. I've always had a really hard time predicting what they were gonna do. The one thing is like they let Uro be legal for so long, and like they banned Bridge from Below instead of looting in Hogak at first, and then they banned looting in Hogak, and then And then they banned Field of Dead, Uro, and Mystic Sanctuary all at the same time, and people were saying just ban one of those things, and they banned Lurrus like 6 months after I was like, hey, we should probably ban this card. It's like way too good, and I didn't think they're gonna ban Yorion. They banned Yorion. It's just someone fires up a Modern League every quarter, and then they make a decision. PCP 18 months. You can thank you. Thank you, PCP. Yeah, just learning to process it, just learning to process it. Okay, we have double Ranger Captain game 1 against Living End is great. We really do need to draw an untapped land to kind of like lock this game up, but Ragavan at the double Ranger Captain is perfect. Okay, so if I Luminarch Aspirant here, I get a much faster clock. The problem is if I don't draw a land and I just try to Ranger Captain off my treasure and my opponent has a bounce spell, it's pretty bad. Although if they have a bounce spell, they can just bounce the Ranger Captain. So I think I should play this. Just be thankful Initiative is modern. Yeah, I was watching some Eternal Weekend coverage on twitch.tv/NZMTG, and I saw so it was like Dimir combo with like Tinker, Time Vault presumably, Bolas of Citadel, and the Time Vault, the Dimir player turn 1 tinkered for Bolas of Citadel on the play, and then on the draw is mono white initiative, and I'm like, okay, this is over. This is actually like I remember I had the distinct thought that this game is a really good example for how you can probably like hate out initiative decks in these formats. Initiative on the draw 1. Oh, his opponent's draw was crazy. It was like turn 1 Lotus Ancient Tomb, I think box into like double initiative creature or something like that. It was crazy. It was an amazing game. Like probably the best game I watched all weekend. In the finals, just get player open on Ancestral Black Lotus, initiative player won by a landslide. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, the Citadel player also bricked hard for sure. But it's just, for me, it was just funny. I had like this thought, okay, this is like a good way you balance out the format, and then nope. Okay, hopefully for no main deck subtlety, but this Ranger Captain is going to give us some insurance. I think I'm going to get a Giver of Runes also, so that my opponent can't like try to top deck a bounce spell for this Ranger Captain. Because either if they have a bounce spell here, they bounce it main phase, I just replay it, and so like this basically just turns off a bounce spell. Do I plan to go back to mono white power card? Yeah, at some point. I liked that deck. Okay, so we sack this Ranger Captain. Notably, if my opponent living ends, I also do get two Ranger Captains back. I could also play out my Ballista and... Ooh. Okay, well, I'm definitely playing that this turn. Do I own OG MTGO? No, I don't. I've been poor for most of my life, but I'm working on some Magic art collection. No OG stuff. Okay, so my opponent can grief this Ballista from my hand. They can grief this Ballista from my hand, but if they living in, I get 2 Rangers Captains back, which can get me another Ballista. Yeah, sell Plasma to buy art. Yeah, Vintage is definitely a format of broken stuff, absolutely. It is also true that, I don't know. I really don't like mechanics like Initiative where you have to read like a little pamphlet to like know what your cards do or what your opponent's cards do. That's like a little bit, maybe a little nitpicky, you know what I mean? All right, they did have the second Cascader, which is pretty bad for me. That being said, Heliod's big, indestructible. We have the combo in our hand. We can lay down arms. I guess only the Shardless Agents right now. Obviously, I was hoping to just draw an Idyllic Grange, and we win the game here and now. I think just playing a 2/2 Ballista this turn seems fine. It does mean that I'm... Oh, I guess I can go. I could go Giver of Runes into 1/1. No. Yeah, you can lay down your arms your own creature. The problem is I don't have enough mana to like Ballista on 1, lay down arms of my own creature, and activate. I think I'm just gonna Ballista on 2 here, and then try to win next turn. The perfect video for today. No! No, stop! Please! After the stream, no! How do I feel about Monarch? Yeah, I think Monarch is like really fun in multiplayer, not that fun in 1v1 formats. Yeah, my opponent has Grief, double Cascaders, and Bounce Spell. Good for them. Okay, Cycles Architects of Will. I don't like how long it took them to do this. I don't know what that means they have in their hand. This game has been pretty interesting, though, at least. The really high mana investment is why I'm not a big fan of Heliod combo. I mean, that's a fair criticism. The idea is the Idyllic Granges do usually cut down on your mana investment a lot. I really like this build of the deck a lot because it feels like you get to like maintain a pretty high card quality while not sacrificing too much. Okay, so if I block like this and they have Violent Outburst, this is 10 plus 3, so I beat a Violent Outburst, so let's block like this. But you know, any 2-card combo that wins the game immediately is worth looking into, of course. And yeah, what's cool, what I really like about this deck is every single card in this deck is good, besides 4 Heliods, which are pure combo pieces. So, like, one of the reasons why like Undual Breach combo is so good is every single card in there is a powerful modern card, except for Grinding Station, which is just a pure combo piece. And so this deck is very similar to that. Although Heliod is like more of a game piece than Grinding Station is in this deck, where, you know, sometimes is a 5/5 blocker, sometimes you activate it. Not that often though. Does that make sense? Like these kind of combo decks are really interesting to me. Okay, so we're gonna cut the lay down arms, gonna bring in the Chalices, the Blood Moon. So make one more cut, probably Recommission number 3. Surprised we can't do anything about the Ragavan with a splash. Ragavan is really good in this deck. Ragavan's good in every deck, but like Lay Down Arms is a great card to remove blockers. Giver of Runes is a card you want to be playing anyways. Great at protecting Ragavan. Recommission makes Ragavan come. So you go turn 1 Ragavan, they kill it. Recommission as a 3/2. Luminarch turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Luminarch Aspirant is a great curve. Ragavan is tunable with Ranger-Captain, and the red splash also helps you get Blood Moon, Wear Tear, which are phenomenal sideboard cards. I know it's like somewhat boring, but I do think it makes a lot of sense here. Thank you, Ranger, the 19 months. And also, you know, I've been playing like a lot of not Ragavan and like Food, and there was another deck, Food and Prowess, that like I don't think Ragavan fits like perfectly there. This is a really good Ragavan deck though. So, okay, turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Ranger-Captain is like one of the best hands you can have on the draw in this matchup. Potato, 22 months, thank you. Glad you're liking the stream. Surprised people bring Blood Moon versus Living In. Normally you fetch Forest and bring enchantment removal. Well, so mostly the thing is like, look, I'm siding out 4 Laydown Arms. I'm siding out Recommission. Like the Blood Moons are better than any other card in my sideboard. So it's not like the Blood Moons are like my dedicated Living In sideboard cards. It's that I have worse cards in my main deck. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Trash for Treasure 2, no Ragavan. Because like yeah, those decks just don't have like the cheap removal. They don't have like any synergy with Ragavan. This deck has like lots of synergies with Ragavan and just have the like requisite cheap removal. Isn't Sanctifier fine? Sanctifier is maybe better than Recommission, sure. It only exiles like Grief and Street Wraith, but those are like okay to exile. Is the Sorcery Speed hurting it? I mean, yeah, Lay Down Arms is not like it's not literally Swords of Plowshare, but I think that it is a good removal option for exactly this deck. Like, this is something I've said a couple times this morning, but Lay Down Arms is not a card I thought I would cast in Modern ever, but This is a deck I had built like a month before Brothers War or something. A deck I liked a lot, and a deck that just happens to play all planes, is interested in the cheap removal spell that lets all your lands come into play untapped. And so it just happens to fit really well in my opinion. I do not recommend trying to fit Lay Down Arms in almost any other shell, but the cool thing about Modern is like when you have these cards on your radar, sometimes you just find something that like meets that, or like, you know, fits some really weird deck building restrictions, and it fits. Because it's like, we're not playing all planes for Lay Down Arms, we're playing all planes for Idyllic Grange, you know? Okay, hopefully they don't find Subtlety, of course. I'm pretty interested in getting Giver or Esper Sentinel here, so that if my opponent does find a Living End, I have a white card to pitch to Solitude. And then I guess Giver can potentially be a protection spell for Ranger-Captain in the same way it was last game. I would consider Lay Down Arms more than this deck only. I've been testing it. Seems to be a powerful and only plane shell. Yeah, I guess my point is, like, it would have to be an only plane shell wherever you put it. And I guess what I was really trying to say was, I don't think that there's another deck that wants to play this all planes mana base besides Heliod. But if you do have one, then yeah, then sure, I think it's fine. If you don't have Ragavan, you go -4 Aspirant, +4 Stoneforge. Yeah, I did consider playing. Okay, do not play Saga in this deck. Do not. I do think you can play Stoneforge Mystic. There's a lot of different ways you can build the deck. I had a mono white version before Brothers War that was playing Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding, and like Triumphs and stuff. But do not play Urza Saga in this deck that needs all planes for Idyllic Grange, and do not play Urza Saga as just like a fair Courser's Accord, you know, 6 mana, make 2 3/3s. Okay, got the Ranger-Captain now. It would be a pretty different build. Have we given up on playing Hallowed Moonlight? So no, Moonlight is still a reasonable card to play in some decks. My issue with Hallowed Moonlight in this deck is like twofold. One, it's very hard to hold up 2 mana in this deck. There are some white decks where holding up 2 mana is easy peasy, and in this deck, I would not describe that as being easy nor as peasy. Additionally, the problem with playing Hallowed Moonlight against the Living End is when your opponent Living Ends and you Hallowed Moonlight, they still get to Wrath you. Which is less than ideal. So I get to Blood Moon them here, which is awesome. They did bring in Force of Vigor against me, but because the Ranger-Captain, if they have it, they can't cast it this turn at least. Thoughts on Recommission and Idyllic Grange and Scales. I think Urza Saga is too important for Scales to want to lose it in favor of Idyllic Grange. I don't really think you want to play both cards together, and you don't want that high of a land count in order that you'd have to play like 24 lands or something to even really consider it. Would you play Orvar over Moonlight in mono white Saga decks? I don't know. It's kind of tough. Like in the Restoration deck, I feel like I had an easier time holding up the mana for some reason or another. Oh yeah, because you're a Saga deck. Because like in Saga decks, like you get to hold up mana to either activate Saga or cast the Moonlight in those kind of situations. But yeah, maybe you play. Maybe you do play Orvar instead there. Okay, I think I'm attacking with both. What did they reveal? You have to sack when they cast the Violent Outburst. So I don't know if they reveal anything. I think they just choose not to cascade at that point. Okay, so if I cast the Solitude now, I can put my opponent to 1 life. And what I like about that is that if they Living End, I can Ranger-Captain for Ballista. 2-0, feeling good. I think I'm gonna keep this, and I think I'm just gonna play Idyllic Grange tapped since, you know, I've got so many more Granges in the deck overall, and I just want to be able to play my things on curve if possible. What's this new Tamashii Kyla command deck I saw floating around? It was something. It was a brew we were working on. It was a brew we were working on like all week last week, and then I think I brought it to the stream Friday, and it wasn't very good, but we sure did play it. You can find it in the stream deck if you type !deck. So we're against Breach combo. And Emery pretty good against laydown arms, huh? It's kind of gross. Let me see what we draw. It's a pretty good draw. I think I will just go ahead and try to be really aggressive here. The Luminarch Aspirant, if it's in play, means that we don't need any untapped land to combo on turn 4 here. I like Laydown Arms specifically in this shell. It's not like a mandatory card to play, but I think it makes a lot of sense like exactly in this shell. I was again before Brothers War, I was playing this deck with Prismatic Ending and Leyline Binding, and I just like playing Triomes and one Shockland to enable those cards. I thought that was also reasonable, but then you have a lot of tap lands. I love you both. Still from you guys. Yeah, I'll keep tinkering with that deck. I kind of want to put down like the super artifact focused brews for a little bit if possible, which maybe not possible. Let's just not block this. Maybe not possible, but this will happen a lot where like you'll have they hit Recommission. I guess they can only get Ragavan or Bobble. They can't get Teferi. Okay, Recommission a Bobble, that's fine. So like this will happen a lot where I'll have like one really good artifact brew. So that in this case that was the in this case that was the food deck. I guess I will get a Sacred Foundry here. And then it's very often I get kind of lost in the sauce after that, if that makes sense. A little lost in the sauce, and I think it's I have another deck that's like really exciting, by the way, that I have prepped at the moment, and that's also not an artifact brew. So I'm looking forward to moving towards that. Okay, we have tons of Idyllic Granges. We have 11 more fetch lands, 2 more Granges. We have 13 outs to win the game here. Alright. Just gonna do the only thing I can really do. I don't think I'm supposed to block the Ragavan. We'll see what happens. Do I always have a backup deck? I usually do. There was like a day last week I didn't have a backup deck because I had one deck prepped and I had a doctor's appointment, so I knew I had to do a shorter stream anyways, and then the main deck was really bad and I just did a like 1 hour stream. I think I'm taking this hit again. I don't know. Let's block. We turn off the Mamber. We choke their mana. We still have plenty of outs to win the game next turn. Any thoughts on Shape of New Portal to Phyrexia? I liked it. I kind of want to return to it. I think this is an issue I have a lot too, where I'll have a deck that I spend a lot of time on. And I end up spending like way more time off stream with the deck than on stream. But I just have like other stuff I'm excited to get to. So I will try to return to the Shape of New deck at some point. I thought I 5-0'd with it off stream, and then didn't play much more after that. Another Mox Amber revealed. So I wonder if they have like a removal spell in their hands. Yeah, I mean, I think Ranger-Captain, both blocking Ragavan and allowing me to like sack before comboing. I think the combination of those two things makes me want it here. I guess I get backup Ballista over something else. Why Lay Down Arms over Path is the ramp worth and Sorcery Speed? Yes, but Path is like just not a good main deck card in Modern. This is really not something you should ever ask yourself right now. It's like in this deck I was playing Triomes and Shocklands in a mana base with tons of fetch lands, so I could play Prismatic Ending and Leyline Binding. I thought that was fine, but I really wanted to play less tap lands, which is why I'm playing this version. Man, just cannot draw that extra land. I can lay down arms this. And play Ballista on 1. Yeah, March is a card that I liked a decent amount when it came out, but there's also like there's a ton of Urza Saga decks at the moment. Also, like Lay Down Arms is way better in a Ragavan deck. It's just like the ability to like exile a 2 mana creature for 1 mana in a Ragavan deck is really good. Ballista on 1 is so lethal with untap land. Well, no. Only if I like can get through with no blockers. Yeah, but like Path is just not a card you should main deck in like really any modern deck. If I lifelink both creatures, oh I guess I just lifelink this creature. Lifelink Ranger-Captain. Yeah. But I mean, best case scenario, I just draw any of my fetch lands. I'm a 23 land deck. Oh, okay. Aether Spellbomb makes this trickier. Okay, let's take 4. Then maybe I could draw Idyllic Grange and like Idyllic Grange target here. Yeah, just can't. Feels really bad. So I think I'm gonna block with Ranger-Captain or Ragavan and give it lifelink. I kept 3 lands in my opening hand here. And we're on turn 7, I just haven't found the 4th one, unfortunately. Yeah, but an Idyllic Grange does let me combo off through the Spellbomb, because I can just counter, target, although I guess they can Aether Spellbomb in response to target. Okay, and their draw doesn't seem to be particularly good either, which is good. Would I be interested in Ambitious Farmhand in this trying time? No. They don't have lightning bolts. They do have. I can't imagine we win this. We get through this. Oh, sack the Ranger-Captain! Oh, damn it! Sorry. Obviously, should have sacked the Ranger-Captain. I don't know how I missed that. That's obviously why they didn't lead on this. Well, I replay, update band company. Again, I'll sack this, but then they get to heat in response. So yeah, this was obviously a big punt. Yeah, I want to play Bant Company. So like right now I have. It's kind of hard to describe this, I guess, but maybe not hard. Okay, so I guess I can go lifelink on Ballista. I can go lifelink on Ballista, ping Ragavan, counter here. They kill the Ragavan, and then I am at 9 and I take 8, and I probably have no outs. Oh damn it! I just didn't kill the Ragavan. I don't know. Sorry, I thought I had another click. Okay, we were still super dead. Damn it. But sorry, I get like this sometimes where I'll like right now I could play Bant Company on any day, but I just have other things prepped at the moment. We were still super dead. Okay, bringing in the Wear Tears. Blood Moon is, I think, pretty good on the play. I think I'll bring in like 2 copies on the play. Maybe you have 1 on the draw. I know I've been putting a lot lately. I don't know what it is. It's maybe that time of year. I've also been just like brain rotted in general. What can I say? Chalice on 0 subs the combo. I don't know if I want both. 1 copy is fine. No, even if we draw Grange, they still have the Aether Spellbomb up is the problem. Not that it's not a punt. Solitude is not that good against them. I think I'll go down to like 1 Solitude. Probably trim 2 Aspirants too. Pretty easy. It's tough because like my opponent's playing like kind of slow, and I start answering a question in the chat, and then I just forget what I'm doing here. I'm probably supposed to lead on Sentinel. It's obviously tough. Triple Giver is really nice. But the turn 1 Sentinel just always throws them off so much. Why not play Drannith Magistrate on the board? Chalice of the Void is 0 mana against Cascade decks, and Magistrate is 2 mana. You could play Magistrate. You know, this is, you know, there's a lot of why knows, you know, why know this, why know that, but for the most part, I always like to hear you suggest, like, I would presume you'd play this over Chalice, but, you know, again, this costs 0. Ooh, Iconoclast. So, okay, them giving me a card and they don't get their bauble, that's probably not, for a 1/1, that's probably not a very good exchange for them. Pretty sure we're getting Ragavan on this board, and then we can just give it, you know, we have plenty of protection for it. Oh no, I should get Ballista. I should get Ballista to kill the Iconoclast. And I think we can attack with a Sentinel. Not that it's like a great attack or anything, but I mean, if they're willing to throw that many resources to get a 1/1, I'll tap a Giver to kill the 1/1. Then we can go like Idyllic Grange, counter on the Sentinel next turn, Ballista on 2 or something. Pithing Needle off the Emery is kind of scary. Okay, so now we can maybe go Ballista on 1, Idyllic Grange, counter on the Ballista, kill Third Path Iconoclast, lay down Arms the Emery, play 3rd copy of Giver of Runes, get in for 4. So I think on the draw, we go -1 Blood Moon, +1 Solitude. Alright, this seems fine. This seems fine. Got a 1-lander, also have a lot of 1-drops. This hand is really good if we draw 1 land in the top 2 or 23 land deck on the draw, although an Idyllic Grange is not that good of a draw, so we really have 19 good draws out of 53 and 2 looks. We're pretty favored. We have turn 1 Sentinel. I'm going to try it. I think with 5 1-drops I can keep this hand, especially turn 1 Sentinel in this matchup. Isn't Sanctifier worth considering? I mean, I considered it, but I've already brought in like 7 cards. I think Sanctifier is like a little worse than like the other cyber cards I brought in, so I've considered, and I think I do not want. We should give her. I think you'll basically always need a Sentinel first. Like, I'm actually even going to Sentinel first here so that my opponent, like, if the, like, I don't want them to go removal spell into get in with Ragavan, but this at least, like, if they've kept a 1-lander or, you know, something is going to tax their mana a bit here. Although this is, I suppose, a good amount worse against them not having a removal spell, but they do. Good start for them. Alright, draw land time. Thank you, Ragavan, for clearing away the land. You're actually a hero this whole time. Wow. I do let them connive. Their start is definitely very good. Have to let them connive, though. Fury and Breach. Yeah, I don't know if this is like Todd Anderson tech, but it's been like popping up a bit more often. I think it's Todd tech. Any reason to double block? Not really. Gargantuan, 14 months, thank you. 2 cards in their hand. Fun Raveler, pretty bad. Yeah, I think I just want to get Double Giver down. Swooger, 2 months, thank you. Obviously, I'll let them connive again. What can you do, huh? I think the Fury is Todd Anderson tech. Yeah, it's like the thing about Breach is a lot of times, okay, I guess they have Aether Spellbomb as something they can Emery, everything else is a 0. The thing about like Breach is a lot of times like you can get run over in the early game, and so Fury being a hedge against that I think is kind of nice. I think that's the thought at least. Wow, they're playing a second Emery for Connive. They had to use their treasure for this too. I don't know if that was correct. Could have been correct. Could have been correct. My life total is not that high. Okay, so I can dash Ragavan, Pro Blue, get through Teferi, just cast Ragavan. I kind of like casting Aspirant, weirdly enough. Aspirant, counter on Giver, attack Teferi. Then maybe like lifelink on the Luminarch Aspirant is how I don't die to this Ledger Shredder. Every day I go to bed and pray for these things. World Peace, My Pregnant Wife, and Terminus being playable in Modern. One day. It was I would have, I want to PTQ with it. It'll be playable again one day. Could get Treasure with Josh Ragged, hold up Tear. You can't hold up Tear because of Teferi. You can either kill Teferi or get the Treasure, but you can't do both. So they have an Aether Spell Bomb, which can be used to bounce this Giver or draw a card. If they wait till I untap, they can't bounce anything. Yeah, one of the first comments today, isn't 23 lands too many? Could even maybe go to 24, but I was playing 22 last time. I felt that was too few. The problem is if Terminus is modern playable, so is Counterbalance. That's not 100% true, but what's so wrong with that? Alright, pretty well timed on Holy Heats. They get in for 3. Big draw for me. Just... I kept a one-lander. It's hard for me to complain, but maybe I'll find a way anyways. I bet I hit a 0-drop that I can't cast because of the Chalice. Talos, 30 months. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. It'd be nice if I could tap this with Ragavan and play, but there's the Chalice. It's funny. Called shot, huh? Called shot. Okay, there's a Saga. I don't think I'm going to tear this right now. I know I restrict my opponent's mana by 1, but I could also tear it on my opponent's upkeep and potentially not use the Treasure. Let me think. I think restricting their mana actually matters a lot when they're on this Aether Spellbomb loop. I like to learn more about the clickbait title context. Ballista is banned on Pioneer because of the combo. I don't know. I didn't know what to put in the go live notifications. So it wasn't that funny today. What can I say? So I really could not let them connive if I don't draw an answer to this Shredder, which I do. Huge. Is Dimir Murktide Shadow a good deck for an experiment? A lot of people actually have been picking that up and liking it. I don't know how good it is really, or how high I would rate it, but I like it. So I think I need to Ragavan. If I give her, I feel like I let them like loop Aether Spellbomb a bit too well. I'm like pretty happy if they're bouncing the Ragavan over Aspirant or Giver, if that makes sense. Love that they drew a land. Or don't love that they shocked. They have Fury? No! Damn it. Man, Giver was like so much better against Hardcast Fury. How could you ever play around it though? I still haven't drawn another land. I did keep a one-lander on the draw. I've only had one land in the top 7, unfortunately. Guess I'm pretty dead. Like I chomp the Aether Spell on the other thing. Alright. Let's back it in. Good match. 2-1. We have all 3 recommissions in our opening hand. But this hand, they kill my I really hope they don't exile my turn 1 Ragavan. But we have removal spell for a blocker. If they kill my Ragavan, I can recommission with a counter on it. We'll keep. Yeah, Breach deck's really good. Alright. Would Ragavan see modern play as a 3-2 for 2? Probably. If it also had dash. What's the dash cost? Ragavan is pushed. Ragavan is a bit too pushed. It's also like... I don't know. It's... Yeah, Ragavan is a bit too much. What can I say? No discourse, no discourse, please. I spent all day yesterday working on 2 really exciting new decks with Brothers War cards, and then this morning there's just so much discourse, so much. I'm gonna do my hands great against grief. Yeah, I agree. I think that like people like do like just. If the problem with Ragavan is it feels so bad to get hit by it, but it is definitely true that you could take a couple hits from it and play a game of Magic. But and then there are some games obviously where it snowballs out of control, but that's not maybe as often as people would have you believe. But no discourse. Okay, can't lay down arms this yet, but can maybe hit with this Ragavan. I bet we hit something super dumb, and then I look like a fool for saying that, and then I don't really care. Okay, just a Cliffs. So if my opponent Thought Seizes me, I probably will Solitude the Grief. So they're attacking, which means they have Terminate, because they didn't have 1 mana rule spell for Ragavan last turn, presumably. Or maybe they just wanted to take a hit. Okay, Lay Down Arms looking horrible against the Grief plan, although our Grief matchup is not too bad with all these Sanctifiers on the board. Okay. Hoping to draw land. That Twitch chatter cursed me this morning. Absolutely put a curse upon me and my family. Isn't 23 lands too many? Every single game, we're just like, okay, if I draw a land here, we're doing good. And Ragavan cursed me, getting rid of a land from the top. I have to Solitude the Grief. I'm getting a Ragavan. Could take 5. I don't think I can really take the 5. So opponent can cast Ragavan, and I lay down arms, hit them with mine. They have 4 cards in their hand. My thoughts on banning Smuggler's Copter and Pioneer. I don't have any opinions on Pioneer. This is something I want to be a bit more mindful on, but I've really played like not enough Pioneer in the last few months to have an opinion on what to change about it. I did a lot of prep for Atlanta. Atlanta was over a month ago. I have not played. I played 1 League of Tipple's Trickery since then, so I'm only gonna try to have opinions on things that I am knowledgeable on. And I recommend all of y'all do the same. Discard Feigned Death, Season Pyromancer. And they drew Grief red card? Or Fury red card? No. I think if they want to... It's tough. If they block it here, I pro red, and I get to eat a token. I guess hitting with Ragavan is probably better than... Or higher upside. Like, I could just like find a Fury here, maybe. Like, the fact that I already have 1 treasure means, like, any of their double black spells are castable too is nice. Thoughtseize. It's pretty painful. I think I'm going to cast it. They just drew 2 spells. They didn't play land for turn, yeah. Yeah, there's a Fury. Probably going to trade Sentinel for a token. Yeah, I'll definitely gonna block so I don't die to Bolt. I'm not that they have Bolt in their hand, obviously, if they're making this attack, but they have it in the deck. Although maybe only 1 more, but I think it's still a fine trade. Voidwalker is pretty scary. Okay, need to find something. That being said, we have 3 Sanctifiers in the board, so I'm not too worried about the matchup overall. That is not something. Okay. So 3 Sanctifiers and a Forge-Tender walk into a bar. I do feel like Lay Down Arms is okay in the matchup, but I probably want to go down to like 2 copies, if that. 4th Solitude is pretty trimmable, especially on the play. 4th Aspirant is trimmable. Although Aspirant putting counters on Sanctifier can be really nice. Or just even just like Idyllic Grange counters on Sanctifier is great in this matchup. I'm worried about Turok. They've got Turok, I've got Sanctifier, we have Ballista for Turok. They don't have much for Sanctifier. Oh, I should be trimming a Heliod. Yeah, this is definitely a matchup to trimming Heliod. Okay, this hand's pretty nice. The Grange entering tapped is an issue. I think I'm supposed to Sentinel turn 1. It's just like much better against their Scam Starts, much better against Thoughtseize. I can still draw it on tap land, although I haven't done it like yet this league. But maybe I'll draw it this time. Is Summit Canyon too greedy? Yes, in your Idyllic Grange deck, you cannot play any non-planes. In your Idyllic Grange lay down arms deck, just play the planes. Also, we have the Dream Curve, a Sentinel into Aspirant, get some counters. Should I be playing Reality Image or Kozilek's Return, Prosper Sanctifier? Play just splash white for Prismatic Ending. That's what I've been doing. I think that's the best option. It's also true that if you just splash white for Prismatic Ending, okay, it was definitely worse against this. But if you just splash white for a Prismatic Ending, then your card quality is higher. Then Kozilek's Return is really bad with Iconoclast. But if you're playing Sprite Dragon over Iconoclast, you can play Kozilek's Return. Sinnoh doesn't do much against the Scam Strand Fury. I know it's worse against Fury, but does more against every other thing besides the Fury start. It's much better against Grief. It's much better against, maybe it's not much better against a turn 1 Ragavan, but it's like much better if we draw the land against a turn 1 Ragavan, better against a Thoughtseize, better against a removal spell. That's not Fury. We also have plenty of outs, like, hold on. My opponent almost definitely has a removal spell here, but I think I'll just go Aspirant counter on the Aspirant. I want to get the counter. And then I can maybe, if this somehow hits, I can play a second Aspirant post-combat, and then I can go Ballista 3 counters. I guess maybe just make this like a 4/4 is better. 5/5. I guess that's not very good against the 4/4 Double Striker, huh? Okay, just connects. Obviously, best case scenario. Maybe I'm just chump blocking this turn. Do you want to play around Second Fury? You give me a line that's not like super cold to Second Fury, and I'll take it. I don't think that line exists. Stokey, 22 months, thank you. Attack first, use Heliod to make a treasure, dead to bolt, draw land for combo. Be dead to bolt, draw land for combo. Okay. I don't know. I like this whole time I was up. They Rakdos with 2 mana untapped. Like I think playing around a removal spell makes way more sense, but that is a line. That is a line. It's not one I like as much as the line I took, I guess. Having a hard time with figuring out what the best thing to do this turn is. I think I just start like this. Dying Malice. So I can go... I can go 2/2 Ballista... Undying Malice. The problem is I can't get this Idyllic Grange counter on the Ballista. with and spend 2 mana into it to kill this Fury. They probably have an Undying Effect anyways, though. I think I just cast a 2/2 Ballista here. I can. So I can, but I can't also cast the Undying Malice. So I have to use the treasure for Undying Malice. So I can't Ballista on 2 with the treasure and then Malice. And an Undying Effect in their hand is like somewhat likely. Right, so block with the Aspirant. Maybe I should put the counter on the Ragavan, but this is also like way more toughness against like damage-based removal. 3 cards in their hand. Alright, gonna get Grief Bugged. Just draw the Heliod anyways. Why not kill Fury Ballista? We can't. We can't do it. I think we spent most of the last turn talking about why we couldn't also, but... Yeah, Recommission. Yeah, good draw, for sure. I guess I offer the trade of Ragavan for Grief here. Why did you not put a counter on Aspirant? Why did you not put a Aspirant on Ballista pre-combat? Well, I could have hit a Fury off the Ragavan. I didn't know if they were holding up removal. I wanted to see what I hit off of Ragavan first, and if I'm gonna go Ballista onto counter on Aspirant, like I only get a 3/3 Ballista anyways, and so the only way that ends up being like the perfect line is if I do hit Undying Malice off the Ragavan, which I did do, but like I don't know that it feels very realistic to like have expected to draw that, if that makes sense. I think I'm just taking 3. Okay, can Ballista this. But, you know, a lot of damage on board for my opponent. Recommission Heliod can present with lethal. This lets me get 2 counters on the Ballista this turn. It's kind of nice. So if I'm going to kill this Voidwalker, I need to do it on my opponent's upkeep to have the lowest chance that they have an Undying Effect in their hand. But if they do have an Undying Effect, I really would prefer them to not have a non-summoning sick Voidwalker. Okay, no Undying Effect is pretty nice. I think I'm also just going to put a counter on the Ballista now, so if my opponent does have a... Like, I don't want to have to do this later, then they respond with their removal spell. Maybe I could have done that on my turn. If they attack with Grief, I think I'll double block Ranger-Captain and Aspirant on the Grief. Obviously keeping the Forge-Tender around for the Fury. I'll have to see that enter the stack here. I guess they're going to Shizo. I mean, I just kill it with Ballista. I guess I should... Sorry, I should block with Ragavan and Ranger-Captain, not Aspirant Ranger-Captain. So Recommission is a win. Heliod's actually not a win this turn since I don't have enough mana. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. 1 card in my opponent's hand. Hardcast Fury mana available, unfortunately. Alright, love that card. I think I'm maybe just supposed to start putting counters on the Sanctifier. In my experience, just putting a bunch of counters on this is a great way to win the game. I guess I could put them on the Fortune too. Spyro makes sense. Yeah, I agree. Spyro's a good, reasonable card to guess. They do have a Fury. So I'll probably just Forge-Tender this. Ballista to play around another Ragavan. This blocks... I guess they Shizo, sure. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really that bothered. Although in this spot, I'm not attacking with the Sanctifier anytime soon, so. So I do think we're back to putting the counters here, and then I think both me and my opponent know that the only thing I'm doing with this 4 mana is putting a counter on it, so let's just do that now. I obviously have the 3rd Idyllic Grange. I could get off the Strand and, you know, still not be dead to Bolt. I do like my steak. I usually like to eat it off the floor like a dog. Makes me feel very primal. And I sell supplements online after that. Yeah, the Eldraine Common Lands are all really good. Yeah. Oh yeah, all of them. Played all of them at this point. Yeah, steak discourse has got too far. Your dogs don't have food bowls? Well, they do, but, you know, it's because they're domesticated. I'm a wild dog. Alright. So I can either kill this Fury. I think let's just go ahead and... Well, hold on. Okay, I'm a little bit scared of an Undying effect, so this is maybe a teensy tiny bit cowardly. I don't think it costs me that much to do this, though. Where I can just go 3 damage on this Fury, and if they have an Undying effect, I'll just be able to respond and kill it. And so they won't be able to Undying the Fury. Undying doesn't work. Okay, like, I'm not talking about Undying Evil. I'm talking about literally all the other ones, if you're saying Undying Evil doesn't work. But also killing this one. Because if I kill this one, I'd Undying, you know, Undying Malice, Malakir Rebirth. These cards let them get this card back. Okay, I don't have a second Forge-Tender in this build. I've had one before. Probably just getting a Giver of Runes. No, let's get a second Ballista too. Giver's not too bad on this board though. Both are pretty reasonable. Let's get a Ballista. Oh, Sanctifier prevents the Undying effect. Okay, so I should have killed the other Fury. Sorry. Forgot that this is not just 2/2 protection, huh? Okay. I guess I was supposed to play the Ballista on one here. I don't know. Would have worked out better for sure. You know, we're both... They still have a card in their hand. So if I can go counter on Sanctifier this turn, chump, double block, and just kill them next turn. It seems very unlikely that they'll be able to get me this turn, right? Even if they go Fury, 1, 2, 3, I chump here, go to 1. So if you have Fury plus another removal spell. Felipe, 2 months ago, thank you. Sub from Brazil, thank you, thank you. Is Tron still a medium, poorly positioned deck? I would say so. Murktide is still pretty popular. There are less main deck Blood Moons, but yeah, I would still say that Tron is not super well positioned. Could you play Asmo in the shell? Asmo is like 12 cards, so I don't really think so. They do have the Fury. So presumably they kill Giver, Aspirant, Ragavan. So if I draw Recommission, Luminarch Aspirant, we win. Heliod, lifelink on the Sanctifier is kind of nice. Also, the decision to like double block or not double block here is kind of interesting. The problem with double blocking here as opposed to chump, I think I just have to double block. The problem with this grief becomes a really big issue though. But if I just chump block, I'm not like in like much better position. Oh my gosh, this is a double chump. Sorry, I've made so many dumb mistakes today. I don't know why I thought this is just clearly not a trade. I'm sorry, chat. Huge punt. I only have 3 Idyllic Granges. No, I only have 3 Idyllic Granges. Maybe they'll concede to the fetch. So So if I have another Ranger Captain here on this board, though, I'm still dead. I'm still dead if I make the other block, but obviously just throwing away Ranger Captain is really bad. Sometimes I'll punt off stream and I'll just like take a sigh of relief that nobody saw it. Have I thought about Heliod Ballista with Reconstruction? I mean, the problem is like Reconstruction just doesn't like get you Ballista. Obviously, you could get Ranger Captain, but I think Reconstruction is not that good without like Lotus Bloom to accelerate it out. This hand's sick though. Could you recommission ever work with Thunderkin Awakener? It would be good to reanimate Solitude Grief. You could reanimate Fulminated Mage every turn. And then you could recommission Fulminated Mage too. I kind of like the idea. Recommission with Vesperlark. I actually really like the idea. Inverted Forest. I'll make a sticky note. Work on recommission elementals. That actually sounds great. I remember we were playing like a decent amount of like Thunderkin Awakener brews, and there was actually like a lot of times I wish that I could just get 1 point of power on the thing. Alright, well, pretty clear Ranger Captain for Ballista this turn. Time to brew it on stream. I have a lot of stuff prepped at the moment. We're not so desperate we need to be brewing on stream right now. But sometimes we are. How good? I've liked Recommission. It's, you know, people always say how good is a card, and like this is like a card that like fits specifically here and not too many other places. But I really wish I could just say like 3 good and then that's it, you know. Can it find a place in Scales? Maybe. I really want to play Yoti and Dissident in Scales, and maybe Recommission is better if you're playing Dissident too. I do agree. Recommission putting 1 counter on Thunderkin Awakener is huge. That's actually really, really big. It gets back Fury, gets back Solitude, gets back Grief, gets back, but like specifically getting back like Fulminator Mage seems really sick. Brew a new Living In. Old one went out of the meta, was my favorite deck. Old Living In is still perfectly fine. It's still perfectly fine. Also, ooh, Leyline Binding's so gross here. Old Living In is perfectly fine. Do I have to, if they like sack a fetch land main phase, I probably have to sack Ranger Captain. Yeah, that can get Ballista down. Yeah, Old Living In is totally fine. And also like I don't have like ideas for it either. Like there's not really like, you know, much new stuff to be doing with it that you could really innovate on there. Okay, they definitely have they definitely have it. So let's go 1/1 Ballista, counter on Ballista with Grange, Sentinel Giver. I guess I could have Sentinel first, but like I'm not really preventing them from playing anything. Oh, it could be maybe better to recommission Ranger Captain this turn, or recommission Luminarch Aspirant. It would kind of depend on if they kill this, you know? You can sack response to Dwarven Mine trigger. I mean, I guess, but they're gonna get a Dwarven Mine there. I suppose that's technically a better time to sack it. Alright, so here they're gonna get they're Prismari commanding, so have a treasure token in play, which is kind of tough. Yeah, I have thought about Kylo's Reconstruction. I don't have too many thoughts on it, I guess. It seems like a fine card to play. I don't know if I'm supposed to be double committing into this either, but I think there's a good chance if I play the Sentinel, I get to draw a card. If they don't have a land, I get to draw a card when they go on this, and then that digs me deeper for Solitude. Like, I don't know, like the problem is like Reconstruction is so much mana, so like I liked it with Lotus Bloom because it like powers that card, it powers out the Reconstruction a lot better. And okay, Solitude. Okay, I did draw Solitude. Problem is they still have a Archon in play. We got some Orvars on the board. Why did we not play the Giver? When did you want to play the Giver? That was, like, better than what I did. Yeah, we just can't even hardcast a Solitude. Let's go to game 2. Okay, we'll bring in the Giant Killer, the Orvars, Blood Moon on the play. Sanctifier's fine. Yeah, Sanctifier stops to persist. It's also really hard for them to kill. Lay Down Arms, not for this matchup. Down to trim a Heliod. I think I got the Aspirants too. Hear me out. Recommission a Dreadhorde Arcanist. It's kind of cute. Probably not something there. Could use Grange with Thunderkin Awakener. Yeah, it's hard to get the all planes mana base though. In your Elementals deck. Probably not doable. So I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna lead on Giver on turn 1 off of a Sacred Foundry. I know that this does mean I can't necessarily Blood Moon on turn 3, but the thing about Blood Moon is I kind of be able to fetch for a second planes before I Blood Moon anyways, which requires me to draw another fetch land or another planes or something. So this is worse if I draw exactly Sacred Foundry, I guess. Although it's also like if I just like, you know, double Sanctifier into turn 4 Blood Moon on the play, that can also be fine. Yeah, Recommission Elemental seems pretty interesting. Just like the fact that you can like actually like Recommission gets back Thunderkin Awakener and lets you like reanimate Fulminator every turn with Thunderkin Awakener, and it gets back Fulminator for two, and gets back Risen Reef. Seems actually really sick. I'm pretty into it. Man, all League this League we have just not been able to draw the untapped land. Eight Unearthed Skelemental. Yeah, maybe. I usually hate Skelemental, but I might play like one Skelemental as like a tutor target for the 1-mana elf or 1-mana elemental game. Obviously hoping for no Prismari command. Looks like they have a Besage You. It's interesting. Oh, Nature's Claim. Sure. Sure. Fair enough. So maybe just getting Archon here, maybe just gonna take a fat 2-0 to 2-3. Although one of those matches was punted off. Wherefore art thou, Orvar? Oh, they don't have it! They do not have it, although you get to dig 2 more with Fable next turn. Definitely not in amazing shape still. So what am I supposed to do here? Ranger-Captain for Giver of Runes. Put a counter on Sanctifier attack. Ranger-Captain sack upkeep. GG? Hopefully GG. I just don't know that Ranger-Captain for. But I do think Ranger-Captain counter on Sanctifier attack twice has got to be likely the line. I'm just not sure if I'm supposed to Ballista or Ragavan or Esper. I think Ballista is probably correct. Seems hard for them to beat this. They have Bolt on my Ballista. Bolt on my Ranger-Captain. I revisited Esper Minter with Founding recently. I've only played that one league. We 4-1. It was fun. I kind of like am excited. Staying, you know. Ooh, we had a good ending to that deck, huh? I played again at some point. Now that the Ranger Captain is active, I'm trying to think what they can even have. They would have to, like, Nature's Claim their own treasure token. Or, yeah, or Fable. I think the only thing is Nature's Claim. Yeah, the Esper Domain was something I was trying to try for a while. This is something that I was super excited about. Maybe one day. Okay, Recommission's kind of nice. Let's just attack with the Sanctifiers, see if they can do anything. Ah, yes. Dude, Turn to Earth is sick here. It gets rid of my Recommission, and they get to gain the life. How would they ever have Turn to Earth against me post-board, though? What is this? Desperation, Prismari Command, Dig 4, Nature's Claim? I think I just pinged them. Okay, then find Nature's Claim. Maybe I'm supposed to bring in the Forge-Tender too. I don't know. It's okay. Could go down to 3 Solitude. You really don't want to draw more than like 1 copy. But you do really want to draw that first copy. I don't know. I think that 3 is fine. No late armors. Late armors is very bad in this matchup, and sorcery speed doesn't hit Archon. Yeah, just only good against the Goblin token, and usually your opponents are pretty happy if you're like removal spelling the Goblin token. Okay, interesting hand. Probably something we have to keep. My opponent's on a multi 6. I didn't see you only had like 5 to 7 planes. What? My entire mana base is planes. All planes and fetch lands. Okay, they keep their 6-card hand. This is the Martyr list. They have Lingering Souls. I don't think this is the Martyr list. I think this is the 5-color list. I think Recommission's pretty good at Ragavan decks. Just comes back as a 3/2 next turn. Oh, that's why someone asked if Ragavan would see play if it was a 2-mana 3/2. Yeah, I think it would. Be a bit more balanced. Honestly, like, this card just should not have dash. It should not have dash. Or it should not let you cast spells. But the fact that it just has both. Listen, there's so much room for flavor text too. There's like literally so much room for flavor text here. No casting cost, only dash cost? Yeah, it would not be playable probably. Or be close to not playable. The Ragavan should give you choice. Yeah, it's just like one of these things it shouldn't have. I mean, Modern Horizons, you know, modern as a format a whole is definitely a format of design mistakes, but or like, you know, things that are a little too pushed. Although I guess some people could argue that the dash is flavorful and it is text, and in that sense it is very technically flavor text. No, this is not discourse. This is not discourse. This is rambling. Ooh, no lands. Let me clear a non-land off the top of your library for you, opponent. You're welcome. Man, Ragavan, truly the kindest. The kindest card in Modern. Clearing useless Archons from the top of your opponent's library. Oh, what was that Ristic Studies video? Where there was like a YouTube commenter that was like, Ristic Studies, I love you. Do a YouTube video on like was it Vizirix? Vizirix, the silliest card in Magic, or something like that. Wow, they did a binding Ragavan? Wow, that worked out pretty well for them. Someone wants to link that. It's fairly short. Okay, bit of reunion. Weirdly enough, good that we got rid of the Archon, huh? Is the dash the back to Karizev? Yeah. It is. Do you think it was more important to mulligan for actually going second, i.e. Orvar? I don't think you can mulligan for Orvar. I think this hand was like good enough to keep. Lucy! And Athena coming in, fighting each other. Leaving without elaborating further. Esther's mom is here. Ooh.
She won't play with her sister.
Lucy won't play with Athena?
Yeah.
What a bad dog, huh? Okay, so we can persist our Ranger Captain here. We can get like 2 ballistas or Giant Killer Ballista. Probably 2 ballistas. Then we can recommission the Ranger Captain next turn. The sounds of the mutts playing. A beautiful sound. Yeah, you need to have more than 2 Orvars if you're going to mull for it. That's a good way to put it. Going to recommission the Ranger Captain again next turn. Ooh. See if this works. We can pay for Spell Pierce, which is nice. Can't bolt the Ranger Captain because of the counter from Recommission too is also nice. I want to play whatever card I get here right now. So that probably should be Giver of Runes. Could maybe be Esper Sentinel. Could maybe be Forge-Tender. Forge-Tender seems fine. I guess I'm gonna just put a counter on the Ballista anyways. Don't go for the win. I don't think we could do 6 damage with this Ballista, right? Maybe we could have. I mean, I think it, you know, I think there's almost no way we could ever do it and play around things, but I don't know. I also don't see how we have the win here. We also don't need to sack this Ranger Captain unless they put a treasure token into play, because we have a Ballista for the dwarves. Yeah, oh yeah, you don't have Heliod. Yeah, there's no Heliod in play. Although we did cast one, so I understand the thinking is there. Magus, 20 months, thank you. Yeah, Recommission's definitely been really good. Yeah, it doesn't fit in too many shells, but a lot of synergy here. Specifically, like turn 1 Sentinel, then they kill the Sentinel, then you recommission Sentinel with a counter. That hasn't happened yet this league, but I like that sequence a lot. Opponent is deep in the chank, trying to analyze every possible outcome to get out of this. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe we should be playing Haywire Might in the sideboard for Ranger Captain, just like 1 Temple Garden. Ooh, it just concedes. I wasn't sure. You'd play it over like the Wear Tear, but then like the Wear Tears are pretty good. Let's run it back. 3-2 punted a match. Then a C4-1. What was the other loss to? What was the? So we lost to.